Dr. Das, and I'm delighted that you got me into this. And at the beginning, let me congratulate each of the speakers, the young speakers. I'm impressed and I'm delighted to hear them. And it is impressive. 5 minutes is not enough. Yes, I know, but I can see the amount of thinking and rationale that has gone into your studies. That is impressive. And the kind of scientific thought process that has gone into each subject, that's very impressive. And I am glad that these youngsters has gone so in detail into these affairs and bringing out their methodologies or their outcome, and the kind of thinking and the use of technology in hand, that's very remarkable. So bringing these youngsters into forums like this, Dr. Das, I must congratulate you, and I'm congratulate the MRC for arranging these forums. So these youngsters are giving me a lot of assurance that the future is bright. I'm glad. So let me, with that opening remark, come to uh, the sequence. I may not go into each one's details because that will be too much, I guess. And it doesn't mean that if your speaker's name is not mentioned, that you have been undermined. It is not the case. And each one of you have impressed me, and I'm very much hopeful about our future with people like you and in the next generation thinking on this way regarding our maritime space. So, coming to the MSP, Marine Spatial Planning, Devraj Singh, this is marvelous. See, the river mouth estuaries are very dynamic and prone to siltation and sedimentation and variation, so dynamic. So how you brought out your assessment is and your design methodologies, I would say it's remarkable. And I think the 20 years of data is good enough for mapping. Uh, one thing is the what we observe on the ground. When we put things into the map, there will be always resolutions and about the scale. The scale hide many finer details that in actual terms what our eyeballs see on the ground. So actual and the mapping have two different projections. So that's good enough, I would say. Then coming to second speaker, Mahesh Mahasri, coral reef monitoring. Uh, I, that is a good analysis and methodology. I would say that although you didn't had any outcome of your the study, but the methodology you followed up is very logical, I would say. And coming to Ashish Kumar, uh, it is your one pointed out the lack of regional data. You have to depend on some basically the NOAA. Everybody is depending on these uh, the American the NOAA because that's the systematic collection of data. Now this showcase why we should be stepping on our regional databases where we just like the NOVA system, we share them and use them for wider usage among ourselves. And I'm glad that you use those things. And this that's why in my early, commencement I said about the kind of uh, the available tools and the sources that you have used. Amazing. You have gone into all the corners and very happy about that. Then come to Pranav Ashok, your rain and wave noise mapping. That's another brilliant one, I would say. And I'm impressed with your assessment and how you have gone to the uh, the assessment based on this data. Something relatively new, noise and wave mapping. It is the noise and rain and wave noise mapping is something relatively new, and but it have a scope in the future. We go for detailed marine science marine spatial planning requirements as we go along. Group 2, the sediment management. Sagar Yadav, scientific thought process that has gone into your study. That is brilliant, I would say. Uh, and what is your think? Your thinking is what caught my attention in your presentation. Uh, See, based on this modeling, what you have proposed, we can do much, I would say. Then come to Aryan Singh, the reservoir sediment, and this is a classic example of making things workable for our practical use. All the reservoirs are I would say already they are experienced in this thing. So your study with the Ujjain reservoir, the utilization, I would say, is very high, and I hope our policymakers will not make note of that. So I'm sure with the ground truthing, uh, these things could get verified very in detail. But it's a good showcase of how much you can get it through these satellite imageries and working things for your own uh, usage. Then marine biofouling, this very interesting thing. And so when Varun Malviya spoke about the Andaman Sea, the cost comparison, that's another good thinking, I would say. How you come up with this cost comparison at the end of the day, people be looking at especially the policymakers will be looking at the cost comparison. I would share one of ours. In Hambantota Harbour, we use Sri Lanka Navy used to have the OPV class strategic reserve. What do you mean by strategic reserve is the one or two OPVs that are on standby to deploy on short notice. So we used to keep them in Hambantota Harbour. But ultimately, we found out that when they were deployed, they are losing speed by 3 or 4 knots. The reason is the biofouling, because the water is clear, water is clean, and sunlight penetration is high, good, and it make biofouling very conducive and expand. So you see, these things matters in naval, and this all matters in the commercial aspects also. And this, in once again, one part is a business itself also. Cleaning underwater is a business itself. So I am very much happy with your cost comparison. And Lavinia Goyal, so biofuel maturity, uh, how you structured that whole model was, that is fascinating, and your infographic explanation, I would say, is remarkable. And then the fishery and aquaculture, Shivam, your artisan fisher monitoring, uh, that's another aspect that, well, I would say, other than the fishery monitors, even the coastal monitors, the maritime domain awareness will also have an interest on these things because of the usage. Then coming to the final, the Shivag, the fish farming, seaweed cultivation. I would say that's your another kind of brilliant thinking that has gone into that uh, your under detection problem. So the reason, the too small, sky cloudy, river muddy, wrong ocean, uh, kind of give a different perspective, and why we should have our own systems for our coastlines in our MSP and in our blue economic planning. And coming to the last, Samyak, marine heat wave drivers, and it's another way. I'm sure you are must be monitoring these things at present, how things are happening right now at in our ocean frontier. It will be propagating to land, and I'm glad about these youngsters coming covering up these things, and all are these ITs uh, campuses. And so it's a brilliant effort, and it is a very timely, and it's a foundation and investment for future. So thank you, Dr. Das, for bringing these youngsters to come and speak. And I'm delighted to hear you, and I'm delighted to know that you have done this kind of thing. Thank you.